Even though the writing was on the wall for this to be the last Daniel Craig Bond film, I mean, come October 8th, it's obviously not the last one. And as adamant as Daniel Craig was that this was it, definitely wouldn't be. Guys, my name is Zack, and as you know, I love discussing cinema and all things entertainment. I really do appreciate you guys clicking on the thumbnail and stopping by. I really hope you enjoy your stay, because today's topic is the fourth and final retro Daniel Craig James Bond film in the build-up to No Time to Die. We're going to be looking at Spectre from 2015. Once again, directed by Sam Mendes, who gave us the somber and euphoric experience that was Skyfall. And as a direct follow-up to Skyfall, Spectre certainly had lots of hype surrounding it in the fall of 2015. A cryptic message from James Bond's past sent him on a trail to uncover the existence of a sinister organization named Spectre. With a new threat dawning, Bond learns the terrible truth about the author of all of his pain in his most recent missions. None other than Ernst Blofeld, played by two-time Oscar winner Christoph Waltz. And just in case you're new to my channel, in case you're new to these retro movie reviews I've been doing, this review will be filled with some spoilers. So just in case you've never seen Spectre, I fairly warned you, let's dig deep into this. Let's finish this playlist strong before the new one. So those of you who know me personally will have already gotten this, but straight out of high school, I was working at a movie theater for a while. And one out of the two movies as a part of the first busy weekend I ever worked at that facility was in fact Spectre. And I remember vividly that that was a super busy film, which really kind of shocked me back in 2015. But in hindsight, as a follow-up to Skyfall, the ticket sales were well warranted. And in terms of the technical prowess, Sam Mendes picks up right where he left off with the previous film. Spectre is a very pretty film. The effects and the cinematography are all very crisp and clean when they have to be, and very rough around the edges during the action set pieces when it needs to be. Which, speaking of, the action scenes in this movie don't necessarily reach the level of memorability that the ones in Skyfall reach, or even the ones in Casino Royale for that matter. Without a doubt, the most memorable action scene for me is the opening chase sequence in Mexico City during the Day of the Dead. And that's of course where Bond is working the helicopter, really trying to get it upright, and that's where he ends up getting the ring, seeing Spectre's octopus-like logo on it. And that all leads into some chilling opening credits set to the tune of Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith. And I'll admit that this song isn't necessarily the first one I would think of for a new Bond song, but for what it is, it certainly works. And you guys probably don't need me to reaffirm this, but Daniel Craig is once again excellent as 007 in here. In what was originally gonna be his last hurrah as the title character, the screenwriters suddenly did something very interesting with him aside from the darker, unique turns from the best 007s. That's right, they went back to the old school James Bond here. They went back to the formulaic opening barrel sequence. They went right back to the martinis, shaken but not stirred. And they went back to all of the corny one-liners. Like, how about after that car chase with Dave Bautista, he parachutes down into the street, casually walks up to a bystander, and simply says, "Good evening." Yeah, it's funny, but this isn't exactly what I'm looking for when I go to see Daniel Craig, especially in a James Bond film. I'm expecting something more along the lines of Casino Royale or Skyfall, more somber tones. Instead, this just feels like a Sean Connery Bond film where it's really cheesy. With Spectre, Sam Mendes basically goes back to what made the character and the series as popular as it is now, which isn't necessarily a bad thing per se, but that's perhaps my biggest issue personally with Spectre, if I could bury the lead for a moment. I really don't think these filmmakers took enough risks with this one. They don't really take the franchise in any new directions or anything like that, and I don't want to say that's because Craig was getting stale in the title role at this point. I really do think it's the writing and the dialogue that brings Spectre down a few levels. But again, none of this is to say that Spectre is a bad movie. It is very good. As I've alluded to, Daniel Craig is fantastic in the movie. Once again, I cannot picture a more perfect 007. All the returning cast members are great. Ben Whishaw is very funny once again as Q. I mean, Naomie Harris as Moneypenny, Ralph Fiennes as the new M after Judi Dench was killed off. All these returning cast members do a marvelous job working off of each other, bringing these characters to life. But here's the god-honest truth, my friends. I think what I'm gonna remember the most about Spectre are all of these new characters that Sam Mendes brings to life. For example, guys, I gotta talk about Léa Seydoux as Madeline. She is my second favorite Bond girl, believe it or not, only second to Vesper Lynd from Casino Royale. And she's got a very troubled past in her own right. Her father asks Bond to protect her from this secret organization in a very chilling scene right before he kills himself. And she and Daniel Craig work so well off of each other. This is excellent chemistry. Yes, I will admit that there are those cliche moments where Bond will have to chase someone down to go and save her. But it's not like she's always the damsel in distress. Oh no, she's helping out Bond in certain instances, like knocking Dave Bautista off a train car. That's pretty badass in my book. Speaking of badass, while I'm on the topic, I mentioned his name already. You gotta love Dave Bautista in this film. As a former wrestler, he just plays the silent brute so well, doesn't he? And just as a fair heads up, just in case you've never seen Spectre, this is a very, very different turn from Drax the Destroyer. His dialogue in this film, very, very minimal. But he's kicking so much spy butt that you don't really care that he's not saying much. How he's introduced is absolutely bone-chilling. How he just saunters into this secret meeting, giving his credentials to Ernst by killing that dude by plucking his eyeballs out with his garishly long fingernails. Whew, just sends shivers up and down your spine. And speaking of that meeting scene, which, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's probably my favorite scene overall within Spectre, because we are introduced to a chilling villain played by Christoph Waltz. This guy really, he is one of my favorite actors working right now, because I really am convinced that Christoph Waltz can do no wrong. And with Spectre, he was just coming off his 2 Oscar wins for Inglourious Basterds and Django Unchained. And he is absolutely perfect as the puppet master. Yeah, you guys remember Le Chiffre? You guys remember Silva? Oberhauser is basically the brains behind James Bond's checkered past involving those villains. And this feud feels personal, straight out of an Ian Fleming novel, and funny enough, this may be Ian Fleming's most famous villain to counteract 007. And let's just say that with his 2 golden statues, Christoph Waltz is certainly up for the task. And then once he's scarred by that weird watch bomb that goes off in his face, that complexion is the stuff of nightmares. So yeah, even though this film may feel very formulaic to some viewers, and I really do think that's what brings Spectre down a few pegs for me, despite that, there is no denying that this is another very fun James Bond film. Sam Mendes did such a great job with this movie. I'm gonna give Spectre a B+. The latest caper into the 007 saga is a blast, to say the least. This is yet another supremely fun and clean-looking spy adventure. Sam Mendes, such a fantastic director. And Daniel Craig, of course, kills it once again. I mean, that's gonna be a given anytime he's playing this character. But I think if they went a little bit more against the norm with this script for Spectre, you very easily could have had another James Bond film on the level of Skyfall. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. All 4 previous installments with Daniel Craig as 007 have been reviewed here on the channel. And with that, keep an eye out for my review of No Time to Die hitting theaters a couple of weeks from now, October 8th. And I can't wait to talk about that movie with you guys and much more. I'm going to be starting my Halloween playlist fairly soon. This Friday, October 1st, we're going to be looking at Boris Karloff as Frankenstein. And of course, I'm going to be talking about all these other new releases hitting theaters the week before No Time to Die. We do have Venom Let There Be Carnage to look at, which I'm so not looking forward to watching. But as you know, I love making this content and discussing all things cinema with you guys. So if these feel like topics you want to continue discussing along with me, then do consider hitting that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can, because it's totally free and it's really beneficial to help me get this content out there to more viewers. You know what else will really help that along is if you hit that thumbs up on your way out. That would be tremendous, ladies and gentlemen. And as I've alluded to, stay tuned for all this exciting content hitting my channel very soon. You guys are the best. I really am so floored by the support this channel has gotten up to this point. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.